Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 So today we will hear from Srimad Bhagawatam, Canto 3, Chapter 5. Texts 15 and 16. Tat asya karsarava sarmadatur tadasya karsarava sarmadatur hare katam eva katasu saram hare katam eva katasu saram udhritya pushpebhya ivarta bandho udhritya pushpebhya ivarta bandho Shivaya na kirtaya tirtha kirte Shivaya na kirtaya tirtha kirte Tadasya karshavara sarmadatur Hare katam eva katasu saram Udhritya pushpebhya ivarta bandho Shivaya na kirtaya tirtha kirte Tadasya kaushavara sarmadatur Hare katam eva katasu saram Udhritya pushpebhya ivarta bandho Shivaya na kirtaya tirtha kirte Others please.
I need to do it a couple more times because I started late, so I'll go first.
Tadasya kaushara vasharmadatur
Tadasya karsarva sarmadatur
Hare katam eva katasu saram
Hare katam eva katasu saram
Udhritya pushpebhya ivarta bandho
Udhritya pushpebhya ivarta bandho
Shivaya naha kirtaya tirtha kirte
Shivaya na kirtaya tirtha kirte Tarasya karsharavas sharmadatur
Tadasya karsarva sarmadatur
Hare katam eva katasu saram
Hare katam eva katasu saram
Udhritya pushpebhya ivarta bandho
Udhritya pushpebhya ivarta bandho
Shivaya na kirtaya tirtha kirte
Shivaya na kirtaya tirtha kirte Tat asya kasarva sarmadatur
Tadasya karsarava sharmadatur
Hare katam eva katasu saram
Hare katam eva katasu saram
Udhritya pushpebhya ivarta bandho
Udhritya pushpebhya ivarta bandho
Shivaya na kirtana tirtha kirte
Shivaya na kirtaya tirtha kirte Oh, I did it after him. But you want me to do it again? Thank you.
Oh, really?
I think Irina needs to do it. Here.
Synonyms: tat, therefore, asya, his, Karshadava, O Maitreya, Sharmadatu, of one who awards good fortune, Hare, of the Lord, Katam, topics, Eva, only, Katasu, of all topics, Saram, the essence, Udritya, by quoting, Ushtebhya, from the flowers, Eva, like that, Artabandho, O friend of the distressed, Shivaya, for welfare, Naha, of us, Kirtaya, kindly describe, Tirtha, pilgrimage, Kirte, of glorious. Translation: O Maitreya, O friend of the distressed, the glories of the Supreme Lord can alone do good for people all over the world. Therefore, just as bees collect honey from flowers, kindly describe the essence of all topics, the topics of the Lord. Responsively, please. O Maitreya, O friend of the distressed, the glories of the Supreme Lord can alone do good for people all over the world. Therefore, just as bees collect honey from flowers, kindly describe the essence of all topics, the topics of the Lord. Srila Prabhupada's purport: there are many topics for different persons in different modes of material nature, but the essential topics are those in relationship with the Supreme Lord. Unfortunately, the materially affected conditioned souls are all more or less averse to topics of the Supreme Lord, because some of them do not believe in the existence of God, and some of them believe only in the impersonal feature of the Lord. In both cases, there is nothing for them to say of God. Both the non-believers and the impersonalists deny the essence of all topics. Therefore, they engage in topics of relativity in various ways, either in sense gratification or in mental speculation. For the pure devotees, like Vidura, the topics of both the mundaners and the mental speculators are useless in all respects. Thus, Vidura requested Maitreya to talk of the essence only, the talks of Krishna and nothing else. Text 16. Savishva Janmastiti Samyarte Kritavara Prakriti Shakti Chakara Karmani Ati Purushani Ishvara Kirtayatani Mahim. Kindly chant all those superhuman transcendental activities of the Supreme Controller, the personality of Godhead, who accepted incarnations fully equipped with all potency for the full manifestation and maintenance of the cosmic creation. Purport. Vidura was undoubtedly eager to hear about Lord Krishna in particular, but he was overwhelmed because Lord Krishna had just passed away from the physical world. He therefore wanted to hear about him in his Purusha incarnations, which he manifests with full potencies for the creation and maintenance of the cosmic world. The activities of the Purusha incarnations are but an extension of the activities of the Lord. This hint was given by Vidura to Maitreya, because Maitreya could not decide. Om Agyanatimiram Jnanam Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangrum Mankayate Girim Jatkripatam Mande Shri Gurum Dinatar Shri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Snapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Anchakalpatarubhishta Kripa Sindhu Yevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo. So these two verses wind up Vidura's prayer to whom? I always pick on you. Why do I always pick on you?
Could you rephrase the question, please?
I don't. I actually avoided giving my wiseacre answer. I'm astonished.
You're on film.
So the verses so far, from verse 2 to verse 16, so 15 verses here, constitute Vidura's prayer, his petition to whom?
Krishna.
Close, but no bubble gum.
Oh.
Maitreya.
But Maitreya was his instructor, right? Yeah, so.
This is Vidura asking
asking Maitreya.
to instruct him, right? Okay. So I thought it would be useful to just listen to the whole petition, this whole entreaty, all 15 verses, so that we have a context for these last two. Vidura said, "O great sage, everyone in this world engages in fruitive activities to attain happiness, but one finds neither satiation nor the mitigation of distress. On the contrary, one is only aggravated by such activities. Please, therefore, give us directions on how one should live for real happiness." My Lord, great philanthropic souls travel the earth on behalf of the Supreme Personality of Godhead to show compassion for the fallen souls who are averse to the sense of subordination to the Lord. Therefore, O great sage, please give me instruction on the transcendental devotional service of the Lord, so that he who is situated in the heart of everyone can be pleased to impart from within knowledge of the absolute truth in terms of the ancient Vedic principles delivered only to those who are purified by the process of devotional service. O great sage, kindly narrate how the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the independent, desireless Lord of the three worlds and the controller of all energies, accepts incarnations and creates the cosmic manifestation with perfectly arranged regulative principles for its maintenance. He lies down on his own heart, spread in the form of the sky, and thus placing the whole creation in that space, He expands himself into many living entities which are manifested in different species of life. He does not have to endeavor for his maintenance because he is the master of all mystic powers and the proprietor of everything. Thus he is distinct from the living entities. You may narrate also about the auspicious characteristics of the Lord in his different incarnations for the welfare of the twice-born, the cows, and the demigods. Our minds are never satisfied completely, although we continuously hear of his transcendental activities. The Supreme King of all kings has created different planets and places of habitation where living entities are situated in terms of the modes of nature and work, and he has created their different kings and rulers. O chief among the Brahmanas, please also describe how Narayana, the creator of the universe and the self-sufficient Lord, has differently created the natures, activities, forms, features, and names of the different living creatures. My Lord, I have repeatedly heard about these higher and lower statuses of human society from the mouth of Vyasadeva, and I'm quite satiated with all these lesser subject matters and their happiness. They've not satisfied me with the nectar of topics about Krishna. Who in human society can be satisfied without hearing sufficient talk of the Lord, whose lotus feet are the sum total of all the places of pilgrimages, and who is worshipped by great sages and devotees? Such topics can cut off one's bondage to family affection simply by entering the holes of one's ears. Your friend, the great sage Abhaya Vyasa, has already described the transcendental qualities of the Lord in his great work, the Mahabharata. But the whole idea is to draw the attention of the mass of people to Krishna Katha, Bhagavad Gita, through their strong affinity for hearing mundane topics. For one who is anxious to engage constantly in hearing such topics, Krishna Katha gradually increases his indifference toward all other things. Such constant remembrance of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna by the devotee who has achieved transcendental bliss vanquishes all his miseries without delay. O sage, persons who because of their sinful activities are averse to the topics of transcendence and thus ignorant of the purpose of the Mahabharata or Gita are pitied by the pitiable. I also pity them because I see how their duration of life is spoiled by eternal time while they involve themselves in presentations of philosophical speculations, theoretical ultimate goals of life, and different modes of ritual. O Maitreya, O friend of the distressed, the glories of the Supreme Lord can alone do good for people all over the world. Therefore, just as bees collect honey from flowers, kindly describe the essence of all topics, the topics of the Lord. Kindly chant all those superhuman, transcendental activities of the Supreme Controller, the personality of Godhead, who accepted incarnations fully equipped with all potency for the full manifestation and maintenance of the cosmic creation. So this is quite an elaborate entreaty. So he's essentially asking Maitreya Muni to tell him whatever there is to know about Krishna, done with all the other stuff. Just gave another class earlier this morning, and the need this topic of the need for Krishna Katha kind of spilled over into that class because I've been sort of steeped in that over the last few weeks with these classes. And today's verse is from the fourth canto. And it was telling about King Puranjan after coming back from a day of hunting animals, how he wanted to kind of be done with the day, with all the activities of the day, take a bath, have a suitable meal, as it was put, and relax. And that's what we want to do at the end of the day, those of us who have jobs. I remember this quite clearly. You come home at the end of the day, and my wife and I had this habit, even if we were going to go out and work in the yard, the first thing we did when we got home was to take a shower. As she put it, wash the day off. Because there's just stuff that happens during the day, and you just want a gesture to be rid of it. Plus, it's refreshing. She worked with children, and I taught writing in college, and there's just a lot of stuff going on in the day. And when you get home, you want to leave it behind, just kind of like let it go down the drain. But what the verse was really addressing was, at the end of a lifetime of sinful activities, in order to try to get ahead in this world, we should want to retire from all those sinful activities, become purified and refreshed and spiritually nourished. So Srila Prabhupada talked about the Vanaprastha Ashram in the purport. So this is our real business. Try to organize our lives in such a way that we properly retire from material activities. And the scriptures suggest that we do it while we still have some energy and some time left. Pancho Sarvam Banavrajit. At 50, go to the forest. Srila Prabhupada a couple times said, by 50 at latest. That we should withdraw from all these activities and engage ourselves in maximizing our hearing and chanting of the glories of the Lord's Nam, Rup, Guna, and Lila, and serving those things. This is the business of human life. This is why Srila Prabhupada established the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. If you look at the 7 purposes for which he says he established the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, and of course this is a legal document, but these are the same purposes that he gave some years earlier, 15 years earlier or so, for establishing the League of Devotees in Jhansi. And it was basically to provide an opportunity for broadcasting the glories of the Lord and for those who were devotees of the Lord to associate together and help each other cultivate their Krishna consciousness. So there's another few verses I wanted to read. These are from the 2nd chapter of the Bhagavatam. So here we are, just kind of like just getting rolling in the Bhagavatam, just warming up. I wanted to start with text 11. This gives us a sense of what the Bhagavatam is about. Why do we attend Bhagavatam class every day? So let's hear these verses. So this is text 11. Many of these should sound quite familiar. Paranti tattvam vidas tattvam yajnanadvayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti shakite. This should sound really familiar because I probably cite it twice a week. Talking about Abhaya Gyan Tattva, what the Bhagavatam is meant to give us, this understanding of how everything is one with the Lord and that there is one Lord, but that he has different features. change. And then, as we see in the second canto, everything is Krishna, but it's also different by dint of his inconceivable potencies. Learned transcendentalists know the absolute truth. Who know the absolute truth? Call this non-dual substance Brahman, Paramatma, or Bhagavan. Long word. Tachadanana munayo jnana vairagya yuktaya ashantyatmani chatmana bhaktya shuta grihitaya. The seriously inquisitive student or sage, well equipped with knowledge and detachment, realizes that absolute truth by rendering devotional service in terms of what he has heard from the Vedanta Shruti. Ata pumbir vijashreshta varnashrama vibhagasaha svanustitasya dharmasya samsitir hanitosham. O best among the twice born, it's therefore concluded that the highest perfection one can achieve by discharging the duties prescribed for one's own occupation, according to caste divisions and orders of life, is to please the personality of Godhead. Tasmad ekena manasa bhagavan sapratam pati shrotavyakirtitavyascha dhyeya pujascha nityada. Therefore, with one pointed attention, one should constantly hear about, glorify, remember, and worship the personality of Godhead, who is the protector of the devotees. Yada nutyasina yukta karma granti nibandhanam chindanti ko vidastasya kona kurya katavati. With sword in hand, intelligent men cut with the binding knots of reactionary work, karma, by remembering the personality of Godhead. Therefore, who will not pay attention to his message? Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has a nice comment. Qualification for bhakti is faith in the topics of the Lord. I like that. Sushosho Shradhanasya Vasudeva Katharuchi Syan Mahatsevaya Vipra Punyatirtha Nishevana. O twice born sages, by serving those devotees who are completely free from all vice, great service is done. By such service one gains affinity for hearing the messages of Vasudeva. Srinvatam Svatkata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridyantasto Hibhadrani Vitunoti Suvritsatan. This should sound familiar because we hear it every Tuesday at least. When Adideva Prabhu gives class, he invokes this hearing of the Bhagavatam by citing the Bhagavatam itself about the importance of this activity. Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. Nashta Preshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyutama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Nashtaki. By regularly hearing the Bhagavatam and rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is completely destroyed, and loving service is almost completely destroyed. And loving service to the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Tada rajastamo pada kamalopadayaschye cheta etayara navidikam stitam sattve prasidati. As soon as irrevocable loving service is established in the heart, the effects of nature's modes of passion and ignorance, such as lust, desire, and anchoring, disappear from the heart. Then the devotee is established in goodness and he becomes completely happy. Evam prasanna manaso bhagavat bhakti yogataha Bhagavat Tattva Vijnana Mukta Samgasya Jayate. Thus, established in the mode of unalloyed goodness, the man whose mind, who's been enlivened by contact with devotional service to the Lord, gains positive scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead in the stage of liberation from all material association. Vidyate hridaya grantis chidyante sarva samshayaha chiyante chasya karmani drishtaeva tmanishvare. Thus, the knot in the heart is pierced and all misgivings are cut to pieces. The chain of fruitive actions is terminated when one sees the self as master. Atovai kavayo nityam bhaktim paramaya mura vasudeve bhagavati purvatyatma prasadani. Certainly, therefore, since time immemorial, all transcendentalists have been rendering devotional service to Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead, with great delight, because such devotional service is enlivening to the self. One more. Sattvam Rajas Tamai.
Jai Shri Pantata Ki.
Sattvam Rajas Tamai Prakriter Gunastire, Yutapara Purusha Eve Hasitate, Stityade Hari Virinchi Hareti Samgya, Shayansi Tatra Kalawa Satra Tunoa Namansyu. Transcendental personality of Godhead is indirectly associated with the modes of material nature, namely passion, goodness, and ignorance. And just for the material world's creation, maintenance, and destruction, he accepts three qualitative forms of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Of these three, all human beings can derive the ultimate benefit from Vishnu, a form of quality in goodness. So, this is what we do. I remember a few years ago, they call it the Festival of the Holy Name in Alachua. This takes place on Thanksgiving weekend. Actually, it takes place the week leading up to Thanksgiving, at least the week. They start having kirtans at each other's homes each night for, I think at least starting Monday. But often they go back before that. So that by the time they get to Friday, they'll have 12 hours of kirtan Friday. Because Friday after Thanksgiving is a holiday, so people generally don't have to go to work. So they have 12 hours of kirtan on Friday, and then 12 hours of kirtan on Saturday, although sometimes they push it. Or I think it was at a Festival of the Holy Name one year. The last kirtan was led by our friend Madhava from Mauritius and Switzerland. And his kirtan went on for something like 4.5 hours.
Wow.
One tune. Not just one tune, one part of one tune. He didn't even, there are 2 other parts to that tune. He didn't even get there. 4.5 hours. And for 4.5 hours, this is mystic power here. 4.5 hours, this devotee sat at his harmonium, led the kirtan, and nothing moved except his hands and his head. He doesn't even shift. It's just amazing. And after about 1.5 hours, it looked like everyone else was in trance. I remember thinking, okay, I'll watch a bit of this kirtan before I go to bed. It'll be good. It's the last kirtan. Everybody's been, chanting all week long, getting together for kirtan all week long. And this is the culmination. And so I'll watch an hour or so of it, and then I'll go to sleep, and that'll be cool. My consciousness will be really nice. I didn't get to sleep until 11:30, quarter to 12. Because I couldn't turn my computer off. It's like, I was transfixed, and it looked to me like after an hour and 20 minutes or so, most of the devotees under the tent were in trance. They were just completely locked into the kirtan. And the rest of the time, it was like the holy name was singing them, was playing them. And then they turned on disco lights. And I thought, oh, maybe the business about flashbacks that they gave us in the Navy, that maybe that's real after all or something. And it was completely, it was just amazing. It was trippy in the very best of ways. So, how did I get there? Help me. Irene maybe she can remember. Anyway.
The topic of Bhagavatam is Krishna.
There you go. That works for me. So what? And we see that here, exactly that here, in text 15. He says, Hare katam eva kata susadam. We want to hear the essence of all topics. Srila Prabhupada points out in the purport that there are all kinds of different topics of discussion for different kinds of people. And we have that experience. We know that. Because now we can tune into any one of those kinds of conversations just like that. You turn on your phone, you turn on your laptop or whatever, and you can go to discussions about anything, anywhere in the world, at any time of the day or night. You've got, as I was remembering this morning, you got people talking about women, and women talking about men, and everybody talking about politics. How's my party going to get a leg up on the other party so that we can take over the country? Or you've got topics about different sports. Some people are going to be talking about, wow, I mean, there was surf again this week out in the country. That's insane. It's June. It's not supposed to happen. How's my team doing in the standings? Are they going to be able to make it to the playoffs by the time we get to the fall, so that they have a chance to win the World Series title? Or whatever, people talking about cars or wine. I have a couple of cousins who are really into wine. One has been in the wine business his entire adult life, and the other, she's a retired teacher now. Her husband died a few years ago, and she just really enjoys really good wine. She has very select taste. And what she does for fun sometimes is go on wine tours with friends. So people are talking about all kinds of things. Not so many people talking about this kata susadam, the essence of all topics of discussion, which is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But Srila Prabhupada created the International Society for Krishna Consciousness to provide that facility. And so, all over the world, the devotees, especially the last year or so, 15, 16 months, since things became really strange with this pandemic, and temples got closed down, and we're chasing people away from temples. We're trying to lure people to the temples. We spent we spent our entire adult lives trying to lure people to the temple so they can hear Hare Katha. So we got to figure out other ways, and we've done it. It's there. It's like our friend Ramananda has been doing this for 11 years now on his esanga.org platform. Bhagavatam class every day, 6 a.m. Hawaiian time. 5 days, Bhagavatam 5 days a week, and Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita on Saturday mornings. And, but so many devotees have been doing this now. We've got podcasts coming out of our ears. Sometimes like conversation podcasts, and sometimes it's podcasts which are people's classes and things like that. And so now, like as I mentioned before, going back to King Prithu, prayed for millions of years so he could hear all the Hari Katha going on in the world. Still not enough. We still need more. We need more Hari Katha, and we need it presented in ways that would attract different kinds of people. So we see, we've got different kinds of classes. We've got, say, for example, Jayadvaita Swami's very straightforward classes on the New Jersey, Iskcon New Jersey site. And then you've got the Wisdom of the Sages with Raghunath and Kaustuba, completely different flavor. And then you've got Nam Ras's interviews with devotees on his late morning show with Nam Ras, the #1 Hare Krishna podcast in the world. Well, I say that, but I don't know if it's true. He says that every time. He always says it like that. Etc., etc., etc. I mean, we have so many different flavors, and we need simply to create more and somehow or other draw more and more people to hearing this Hare Katha Eva Katha Susad, the essence of all topics of discussion. I'll stop there. Anybody have any quick comments or questions? See how quickly I can count down to 0. Okay, thank you so much. Dr. Raja Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai.